The Happiness Trap by Dr. Russ Harris. Picture yourself walking through a thick, unfamiliar jungle. Without warning, the ground crumbles beneath you, and suddenly you're waist deep in quicksand. What's your gut reaction? You'd thrash around wildly, right? Kick, flail, do whatever it takes to escape. But here's the thing. Anyone who understands quicksand knows that's exactly what'll kill you. The more you fight, the faster you sink. The only way out? Do the opposite of everything your body's screaming at you to do. Stop fighting. Lean back, spread your arms, and float. It feels completely wrong, deeply uncomfortable, but it's what saves your life. Now here's the wild part. What if our relationship with difficult emotions works exactly the same way? What if all our efforts to fight anxiety, squash sadness, and battle self-doubt are actually making everything worse, like struggling in quicksand? This is the mind-bending core idea of a book that's quietly revolutionizing modern psychology, The Happiness Trap, by Dr. Russ Harris. And no, this isn't your typical self-help book packed with positive affirmations and sunshine. In fact, it argues that most of that feel-good advice is actually part of the problem. Dr. Harris, a medical doctor who became a therapist and mindfulness expert, introduces us to a powerful approach called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. It's built on a radical, almost shocking premise. Our relentless chase for happiness is, ironically, the main source of our misery. By the time we're done today, you'll understand this profound paradox. You'll see the invisible psychological trap that's been holding you and pretty much everyone you know hostage. But more importantly, you'll learn how to escape it, not by fighting harder, but by completely changing how you relate to your feelings. This is about stopping the struggle and finally starting to live. Let's kick things off with a deceptively simple question. How does almost every fairy tale end? And they lived happily ever after. From childhood, we're fed this powerful narrative. It's woven through our movies, our books, our entire culture. The story goes that happiness is the default human setting, our natural state, and if we're not feeling it, something must be seriously wrong with us. Dr. Russ Harris calls this the first and most dangerous myth of the happiness trap. Our culture screams that we should be happy, but reality paints a very different picture. The World Health Organization predicts depression will soon be the second most debilitating condition worldwide. 1 in 5 people will experience it in their lifetime, and 1 in 10 will seriously consider suicide. If happiness were our natural state, these statistics would be impossible. Happiness, Dr. Harris argues, isn't a normal state at all. It's a fleeting emotion, just like all the others. This launches us into the second myth. If you're not happy, something's broken inside you. Because we believe happiness should be our baseline, we experience painful thoughts and feelings, and immediately conclude, we're defective. We feel weak, damaged, abnormal. But the book offers a refreshingly compassionate alternative. Psychological pain isn't a defect. It's a natural byproduct of how our minds evolved. Think about it. Our minds didn't evolve to make us feel good. They evolved to keep us alive. For our ancient ancestors roaming the savannah, the top priority wasn't writing poetry or cracking jokes. It was, don't get eaten. Their minds became incredibly efficient threat detection machines, constantly scanning for danger. Is that rustling grass hiding a predator? Is that neighboring tribe friendly or about to attack? Fast forward 100,000 years, and we're running the same mental software. But today's threats aren't saber-toothed tigers. They're job interviews, public speaking, fear of rejection, or worrying thoughts about the future. Our mind is still doing its job, alerting us to potential danger. But in the modern world, This translates into an almost constant stream of worry and anxiety. Survival also depended on belonging to your tribe. Get kicked out, and you wouldn't last long alone. So the mind developed another crucial survival tool: social comparison. Am I fitting in? Am I pulling my weight? Am I as capable as everyone else? Today, this ancient programming has us endlessly comparing ourselves to airbrushed magazine models or the carefully curated highlight reels of our friends' social media lives, pretty much guaranteeing we'll always feel inadequate. So if our minds are naturally wired for worry and comparison, what does society tell us to do about it? This brings us to myths 3 and 4. Myth number 3. To create a better life, we must eliminate negative feelings. And myth number 4. We should be able to control what we think and feel. This is the very heart of the happiness trap. We're taught that feelings like anxiety, sadness, and fear are bad and must be eliminated. We try suppressing them, arguing with them, distracting ourselves, or plastering over them with positive thinking. We're told to just get over it, snap out of it, or look on the bright side. But have you ever actually tried not to think about something? Let's do a quick experiment. For the next few seconds, whatever you do, absolutely do not think about a delicious, cold, creamy ice cream cone. Don't think about its flavor, how it melts on your tongue, or those drips running down the side that you have to lick up quickly. How'd that go? You totally thought about ice cream, didn't you? This simple exercise reveals something profound. We have way less control over our inner world, our thoughts and feelings, than we'd like to believe. Trying to suppress a thought is like holding a beach ball underwater. It takes enormous effort, and the second you ease up, it explodes back to the surface with even more force. This is where our solution becomes the actual problem. When we feel anxiety, our first instinct is to make it disappear. Maybe we distract ourselves with chocolate, or avoid a social situation entirely. Short term, it might work. The anxiety fades. But long term, we pay a heavy price. The chocolate triggers guilt, and avoiding social events creates loneliness, the very feeling we were trying to escape in the first place. Dr. Harris introduces a powerful concept here: the struggle switch. Imagine there's a switch at the back of your mind. When it's turned on, you're in a state of war with your pain. Any uncomfortable feeling becomes a threat you must fight. Anxiety shows up, and you get anxious about being anxious. Sadness arrives, and you get depressed about being depressed. This second layer of suffering is what Dr. Harris calls dirty discomfort. All the extra pain we pile on ourselves by fighting our clean discomfort, which is just the natural, unavoidable pain that comes with being human. But what happens when the struggle switch is off? Anxiety still shows up, it's still uncomfortable, but it's not a crisis, it's just anxiety. A collection of physical sensations and urges. Without the struggle, the feeling is free to rise, peak, and pass through you naturally, like weather moving across the sky. You're no longer burning energy fighting it. This brings us to one of the book's most memorable metaphors: the demons on the boat. Imagine you're the captain of a ship, and your life's journey is steering this vessel toward a distant, beautiful shore that represents a meaningful life. But there's a catch. Below deck lives a horde of terrifying demons: your fears, self-doubts, painful memories, unwanted urges. As long as you let the ship drift aimlessly, the demons stay quiet below. But the moment you grab the wheel and start heading toward that shore, the moment you decide to do something meaningful, like asking someone out, starting a new career, or speaking your truth, the demons swarm onto the deck. They roar, wave their claws, threaten you with all sorts of doom. Naturally, you hate this. So you cut a deal. If you demons stay below, I'll stop heading for shore. They agree, and you go back to drifting. But pretty soon, life feels empty, boring, meaningless. You watch other ships sailing with purpose while you're just stuck. You could try fighting the demons, throwing them overboard. But there are infinite demons, and while you're busy fighting, nobody's steering the ship. But here's the secret the demons don't want you to know. They can't actually hurt you. They can threaten, they can look terrifying, but they have zero physical power. Their only power comes from your belief in their threats. The only way to reach that shore is to let the demons be on deck with you. Accept their presence. Allow them to roar and complain, and keep your hands firmly on the wheel, steering toward what matters. This is the essence of acceptance and commitment therapy. It's not about winning the war with your inner demons. It's about ending the war entirely. It's about learning to sail with them aboard. So how do we actually do this? ACT is built on 6 core principles that work together to help us flip off that struggle switch and learn to navigate with our demons. The first principle is diffusion. This might be the most mind-bending idea in the entire book. Most of us are fused with our thoughts, meaning we treat them as literal reality. If the thought, "I'm a loser," pops up, we react as if we actually are a loser. Cognitive fusion is when the thought and what it refers to become one and the same. Diffusion is the process of separating from our thoughts, seeing them for what they really are, just strings of words and images passing through our minds. It's not about changing or eliminating the thought. It's about changing its impact. The book offers wonderfully simple yet powerful techniques for this. One is adding the phrase, "I'm having the thought that," in front of any difficult thought. So instead of being caught in, "I'm a failure," you step back and observe, "I'm having the thought that I'm a failure." Feel the difference? That small linguistic shift creates space. It lets you see the thought as a mental event, not an objective truth about who you are. You're not your thought. You're the one noticing you're having the thought. Another playful technique is musical thoughts. Take a harsh, recurring self-judgment, like, "I'm so stupid." Now sing that thought silently to the tune of "Happy Birthday" or "Jingle Bells." It's nearly impossible to take the thought seriously when it's being performed by a cartoon character in your head. You haven't argued with it or tried to suppress it. You've simply diffused it, revealing it as nothing more than a collection of words. The second principle is expansion, which is ACT's version of acceptance. If diffusion is for thoughts, expansion is for feelings and bodily sensations. When a painful emotion like anxiety arises, our natural instinct is to tense up, to contract around it, as if we could squeeze it out of existence. Expansion is the opposite. It means opening up and making room for the feeling. It involves observing the sensation with curiosity, like a gentle scientist. Where is it in your body? What's its shape, temperature, texture? You breathe into and around the sensation, giving it space, allowing it to exist without fighting it. You're not trying to make it disappear. You're letting go of the struggle against it. This is how you truly face your demons. Once you stop fighting them, they're far less intimidating than they first appeared. The third principle is connection, or what many people call mindfulness. Our thinking mind is like a time machine, constantly yanking us into regrets about the past or anxieties about the future. We spend so much of our lives lost in thought that we completely miss the only moment we truly have, right now. We eat meals without tasting them, have conversations without really listening, and sleepwalk through our days on autopilot. Connection is about bringing full attention to the present moment, engaging with our senses. It's noticing the warmth of sunlight on your skin, the taste of your morning coffee, the sound of your child's laughter. It's about waking up to your life as it's actually happening. The book provides simple exercises, like Notice 5 Things, where you simply pause and name 5 things you can see, 5 sounds you can hear, and 5 things you can physically feel. This simple act anchors you in the here and now. These first 3 principles, diffusion, expansion, and connection, are about transforming our inner world. But they all point towards something deeper, the 4th principle, the observing self. Think about this. Your thoughts constantly change. Your feelings come and go. Your body is different today than it was 10 years ago, but there's a part of you that's been there through it all. The part that's aware of all these changes. The part that notices your thoughts, observes your feelings, and is aware of your body. That's the observing self. Dr. Harris uses a beautiful metaphor. Your thoughts and feelings are like the weather, constantly changing, sometimes stormy, sometimes calm. You're not the weather. You're the sky. The sky contains the weather, allows it to be there, and is never harmed by it, no matter how violent the storm. This perspective is the ultimate source of true self-acceptance. Most of us are trapped in a constant battle for self-esteem, like a chess game where we try to line up all our good qualities, the white pieces, to fight off our bad qualities, the black pieces. But the observing self isn't the pieces. It's the chessboard itself, providing the space for the entire game to unfold without being part of the battle. You're not the story your mind tells about you. You're the one listening to the story. This realization frees us to focus on the final 2 principles, which are about creating a life actually worth living. The 5th principle is values. Values aren't the same as goals. A goal is a destination you can reach, like getting married or buying a house. A value is a direction, a way you want to live your life, an ongoing process that never ends. Getting married is a goal. Being a loving, caring, supportive partner is a value. A value is like heading west. No matter how far you travel, you can always keep going west. A goal is just a landmark you pass along the way. The book guides you through a profound exercise to clarify what truly matters to you across different life areas: relationships, career, health, personal growth. What kind of person do you want to be? What do you want to stand for? Your values become your compass, providing direction and motivation. This is powerfully illustrated by Viktor Frankl's story, a psychiatrist who survived Nazi concentration camps. Frankl observed that the prisoners with the best chance of survival weren't the strongest or fittest, but those with a sense of purpose, a deep connection to something they valued, whether it was the love for a child they hoped to see again, or important work they felt destined to complete. Their values gave them a reason to endure unimaginable suffering. This brings us to the 6th and final principle: committed action. Values are just words until you put them into action. Committed action means taking effective steps guided by your values, even when it's difficult and uncomfortable. It's about doing what matters, even if you're scared, even if your mind is screaming a million reasons why you can't. Commitment isn't about perfection. It's about getting back on track when you inevitably stumble. It's like learning to walk. You fell down hundreds of times, but you always got back up. Commitment is the willingness to pick yourself up, learn from your stumbles, and keep moving in your chosen direction. And this requires willingness. Willingness isn't the same as wanting. You don't want the discomfort that comes with pursuing meaningful goals, but you're willing to experience it in service of what you value. A cancer patient is willing to endure chemotherapy's awful side effects, not because they want them, but because they value living. Willingness is saying yes to the whole journey, the easy parts and the hard parts, the joy, and the pain. Together, these 6 principles offer a complete escape from the happiness trap. Instead of a life spent chasing pleasant feelings and fleeing unpleasant ones, you begin building a life centered on what truly matters. You learn to let thoughts and feelings come and go like weather in the sky, while you keep your hands on the wheel, steering your ship toward the shores of a rich, full, meaningful life. It's a life where happiness is no longer the goal, but a welcome visitor that comes and goes as you engage fully in the journey. As we wrap up our journey through the happiness trap, what strikes me most is how deeply counterintuitive its central message is, and yet how profoundly true it feels once you let it sink in. We live in a world that literally sells happiness as a product. We're told if we just buy the right thing, achieve the right status, or think the right thoughts, we'll finally arrive at permanent bliss. Dr. Harris's work doesn't just question this idea, it dismantles it with surgical precision. The most powerful lesson for me is the radical shift from a goal-focused life to a values-focused one. We're so often like that frustrated kid in the back seat, endlessly asking, "Are we there yet?" We postpone fulfillment until we achieve the next milestone, the promotion, the relationship, the perfect body. And as we all know, once we get there, the goalpost just moves again. Life becomes a never-ending chase. The happiness trap invites us to become the other kid in the car, the one looking out the window, fascinated by the journey itself. It teaches us that a meaningful life isn't about arriving at some destination where all problems magically disappear. It's about the quality of the journey, moment by moment. It's about learning to sail with our demons on deck, not waiting for some mythical day when they vanish forever. The beauty of this approach is its compassion. It doesn't ask you to become some superhero who conquers fear or banishes negativity. It simply asks you to be human. It acknowledges that pain, sadness, and fear aren't enemies to defeat, but inevitable parts of a full, vibrant life. The book gives us permission to stop fighting an unwinnable war against ourselves. If you take just one thing from our time together today, let it be this: start noticing your own struggle switch. Notice those moments when you begin fighting with your own feelings. In those moments, see if you can practice just a tiny bit of expansion. Don't try to change the feeling. Just observe it, breathe into it, give it a little space. See what happens when you flip that struggle switch to off. And when a harsh thought about yourself pops up, try defusing from it. Silently say, "I'm having the thought that I'm not good enough." Just notice the subtle shift that creates. This isn't about magic tricks. It's about building a new skill, one small step at a time. It's about learning that you're the sky, not the weather. That was a summary of The Happiness Trap by Dr. Russ Harris. We've explored the core ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. The real adventure, the real transformation, happens when you decide to take the journey yourself. The book is packed with stories, exercises, and nuances that can't be captured in a brief overview. If any of these ideas spark something in you, if they've made you question how you've been living, I genuinely encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's a practical guide that can genuinely change your relationship with yourself and the world around you. You can find a link to the book in the description below. Also, if you found this summary helpful and want to keep exploring life-changing books with me, please consider liking this video and subscribing to Billionaire's Bookshelf. It helps us grow and ensures you won't miss our next deep dive. Let's continue on this journey of learning and growth together.